Hi everyone, welcome back. Here in this video, I am going to solve three problems from 5th unit of your strength of materials for your mid preparation. Like in the previous video, here also I am going to give timestamp of each question in the description below. If you wish to learn the specific question, please follow the description. Otherwise, if you want to learn all the three questions, follow the full video. Let us see the first question now. Here the question is given like a rectangular block of a material is subjected to a tensile stress of 110 Newton per mm square. So in a material they considered a small rectangular block. On that block a tensile stress of 110 Newton per mm square is acting on one plane and a tensile stress of 47 Newton per mm square on the plane at right angles to the former, means 110 Newton per mm square which is acting on one plane to that plane at right angles on another plane 47 Newton per mm square is acting. Each of these above stresses is accompanied by a shear stress of 63 Newton per mm square and that associate with the former tensile stress, means the former tensile stress here is 47 Newton per mm square. So that associate with the former tensile stress tends to rotate the block anti-clockwise. So if you take a rectangular block like this, I am taking a rectangular block. So on this rectangular block, first a tensile stress of 110 Newton per mm square. 110 Newton per mm square is acting like this. And then a tensile stress of 47 Newton per mm square is acting at right angles to the former plane. So here 47 Newton per mm square is acting on this plane which is perpendicular to the previous plane. So now it is accompanied by a shear stress of 63 Newton per mm square, and 63 Newton per mm square is creating or it tends to rotate the block in anti-clockwise direction to the former tensile stress. So to the 47 Newton per mm square, here shear stress is acting in anti-clockwise direction at a rate of 63 Newton per mm square. So to this shear stress, complementary shear stress will be developed on the other two planes. So if we see the total figure, it will look like this. And if we take the stresses as sigma 1 as 110 Newton per mm square, sigma 2 as 47 Newton per mm square and tau as 63 Newton per mm square. So this is the data given to us. Now they are asking first the direction and magnitude of the each principal stress, and the second one is magnitude of the greatest shear stress. So let us see how to calculate one by one. First I am going with the magnitude of the principal stresses. So principal stresses we are having major principal stress and minor principal stress. So first one is how to calculate the major principal stress. So for major principal stress, sigma n major, we will get it by using the formula sigma 1 plus sigma 2 by 2 plus under the root of sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2 whole square plus tau square. So here I am directly placing the values of sigma 1, sigma 2 and tau. That is 110 Newton per mm square plus 47 Newton per mm square by 2 plus under the root of 110 Newton per mm square minus 47 by 2 whole square plus tau is 63 Newton per mm square whole square. So by solving this, we will get the value of major principal stress as 148.936 Newton per mm square. So this is the value of major principal stress. It is the magnitude of major principal stress. Similarly, we can find the value of minor principal stress by simply following the same formula, replacing plus with minus here. So sigma 1 plus sigma 2 by 2 minus under the root of sigma 1 minus sigma 2 by 2 whole square plus tau square. So which is equal to same, replacing the values of sigma 1, sigma 2 and tau. 110 plus 47 by 2 minus under the root of 110 minus 47 by 2 whole square plus tau, that is 63 Newton per mm square whole square. So we will get value of sigma n minor as 8.064 Newton per mm square. So these are the magnitudes of major principal stress and minor principal stress. We need to find the direction of the principal stresses. So to get the direction of the principal stresses, we use the formula tan 2 theta, which is equal to 2 tau by sigma 1 minus sigma 2. So replace the values of tau, sigma 1 and sigma 2 here. We will get the value of theta, that is the direction of principal planes. So here tan 2 theta equal to 2 tau, means 2 into 63 by sigma 1 110 minus sigma 2 47. So which is 2 theta equal to tan inverse of, here we got the value of 2. So 2 theta value we will get 63 degrees 26 minutes, or plus 180 degrees we will get as 243 degrees 26 minutes. So from this we will get the value of theta as 31 degrees 43 minutes and 121 degrees 43 minutes plus 180. So major and minor principal stresses are acting at planes which is making an angle 31 degrees 43 minutes and 121 degrees 43 minutes, which will be like this. So one is major principal stress plane and another one is minor principal stress plane. So here we got the magnitude and direction of the principal stresses. Now we are asked with to find the value of greatest shear stress magnitude. So here to calculate the magnitude of greatest shear stress, sigma T max equal to half into under the root of sigma 1 minus sigma 2 whole square plus 4 tau square. So here I am placing the values of sigma 1, sigma 2 and tau again. That is half into under the root of 110 minus 47 whole square plus 4 into 63 square. So here I got the value of maximum or greatest shear stress as 70.436 Newton per mm square. So this is our first problem. The next I am going for the second problem. See, here the second problem is given as same, the stresses at a point on a bar are 200 Newton per mm square tensile and 100 Newton per mm square compressive. So on a point or a rectangular small piece member, the forces are acting like 200 Newton per mm square tensile on one plane and 100 Newton per mm square compressive on another plane. See, which are mutually perpendicular to each other. Now, what they are asking, using Morse circle method. So here they asked, using Morse circle method, determine the resultant stress. So we need to find the value of resultant stress, sigma r. Resultant stress in magnitude and direction on a plane inclined at 60 degrees. So here 2 theta equal to 60 degrees to the axis of the major stress. So to the axis of this major stress, it is making an angle 60 degrees. 60 degrees plane, we need to find the value of resultant stress and also determine the maximum intensity of shear stress. So we need to find the value of maximum shear stress in the material at the point. So if we take this as a point, this rectangular section or rectangular part as a point, here we have sigma 1 and sigma 2 acting like this, where sigma 1 we have 200 Newton per mm square and sigma 2 we have 100 Newton per mm square, which is compressive. So using this data, now we are going to find the value of sigma r, which is the resultant stress, and also we need to find the value of sigma t max, shear stress, which is maximum in magnitude. So before drawing the Morse circle, we must take proper or appropriate scale for drawing the Morse circle. So here 200 Newton per mm square and 100 Newton per mm square we should represent in a perfect scale in our paper, like 1 centimeter equal to 10 Newton per mm square or 1 centimeter equal to 100 Newton per mm square. Likewise, take some appropriate scale and draw the figure. Now we will see the process of drawing Morse circle for this case. So first I am drawing a straight line and I am considering a point which is A. So from this point I am drawing 2 points AB and AC. AB will be equal to sigma 1, that is equal to 200 Newton per mm square. Since it is tensile, I am taking it on positive side. And next I am drawing AC, that is equal to the magnitude of sigma 2. Since it is compressive, I am drawing it on negative side. So now we have B and C points. Okay, taking B and C, taking BC as diameter, first I am going to find the center of this line BC. So using that center O, I am going to draw a circle passing through B and C. So BC is the diameter here. Now I am taking the value of theta or 2 theta, which is given to us, that is 60 degrees. So from O, taking OB as a horizontal line, from OB horizontal line, I am drawing a line with 60 degrees to the circle. It will meet the circle at point D. Now I am dropping a perpendicular from D to the line CAB, which will meet the line at E. After this, the length AE is the normal stress, value of normal stress on the oblique plane, and DE is the value of shear stress on the oblique plane. So the oblique plane, which is making an angle of 60 degrees, the normal and tangential stresses acting on this plane, the magnitude of that normal and tangential stresses will be equal to AE and ED. Then if we join the line AD, the line AD is our resultant stress sigma R. Magnitude of resultant stress sigma R will be equal to AD equal to sigma R, resultant stress. And then the angle DAE is our angle of obliquity. Then if we draw a perpendicular from O to somewhere on the circle which will join at H, that OH is the maximum value of shear stress, that is a sigma T max. So from our problem, we need to find the values of resultant stress, that is sigma R, where sigma R is the length of AD and sigma T max, which is the length of OH. So we got the values of sigma R and sigma T max from the Morse circle. This is our second problem. Now let us see the next one. See, this problem is given like the principal stresses at a point in an elastic material are 200 Newton per mm square, which is tensile, 100 Newton per mm square, this is also tensile, and 50 Newton per mm square, this is compressive. Three stresses, sigma 1, sigma 2 and sigma 3 are given as tensile 200 Newton per mm square tensile, 100 Newton per mm square tensile, and sigma 3 50 Newton per mm square tensile. Sorry, compressive. Now, what they are now, if the stresses at the elastic limit in simple tension, so if the stress at elastic limit in simple tension is 200 Newton per mm square, means sigma star is 200 Newton per mm square. Determine whether the failure of the material will occur according to all theories of failure. Additionally, it is given Poisson's ratio equal to 0.3. Yes, what we need to find here is we need to determine the material, whether the material is going to fail or whether the design is not going to fail. We need to check with all theories of failure. So first we have 5 theories of failure. Maximum principal stress theory, which is Rankine's theory, maximum principal strain theory, that is Saint Venant's theory or Saint's theory. The next, maximum shear stress theory, which is also known as Guest's theory, and maximum strain energy theory, Hike's theory, and maximum shear strain energy theory, that is Hankey's and von Missy's theory. Right. So we need to find whether the material is going to fail or not by using all these 5 theories of failure. Let us see one by one how we are going to find whether the material is going to fail or it is not going to fail. The first one is maximum principal stress theory. So according to maximum principal stress theory, material is going to fail whenever a member, the major principal stress or the maximum principal stress which is acting in the member is greater than or equal to maximum stress at elastic limit in simple tension or in simple compression. See here, sigma 1, if sigma 1 is greater than or equal to sigma T star in simple tension or sigma C star in simple compression, then material will fail. So here we have the value of sigma 1 as 200 Newton per mm square. And in simple tension, we have sigma T star as 200 Newton per mm square in simple tension. So we are also having sigma T star as 200 Newton per mm square. So according to maximum principal stress theory, which is our first theory of failure, sigma 1, if sigma 1 is greater than or equal to sigma T star in simple tension, member will fail. So here we satisfied the condition equal, both are equal. So according to this theory, failure will occur. This is from first theory of failure. Now going to the second theory of failure, maximum principal strain theory. So according to this theory, strain in the material will be greater than or equal to sigma T by E, which is nothing but strain at elastic limit in simple tension or strain at elastic limit in simple compression. So if the strain in the member E1 is greater than or equal to sigma T star by E, means strain at elastic limit, then member will fail. So we have here E1, which is nothing but 1 by E into sigma 1 minus mu into sigma 2 plus sigma 3, where sigma 1 is the longitudinal stress and sigma 2 and sigma 3 are linear stresses. So here we will get the value of E1 as 1 by E into placing the values of sigma 1, sigma 2 and sigma 3, like 200 minus mu, that is 0.3 into 100 plus minus 50, since it is a compressive one. We will get the value of E1 as 185 by E. So this is the value of E1. Now we need to find the value of sigma T star by E, that is equal to 200 by E. So according to maximum principal strain theory, failure will occur only when E1 is greater than or equal to sigma T by E. So here E1 is 185 by E, whereas sigma T by E is 200 by E. So it is not greater than or equal to E1. Therefore material is safe. Failure will not occur here. Then the third theory of failure is the maximum shear stress theory. So according to this theory, maximum shear stress theory, shear stress in the member is greater than or equal to the shear stress in the member in simple tension. Then the member will fail, which is given as half into sigma 1 minus sigma 3. If it is greater than or equal to half into sigma T, then the member will fail. So when we simplify it, sigma 1 minus sigma 3, if it is greater than sigma T, then member will fail according to this theory. So here we have value of sigma 1 as 200 and sigma 3 as minus 50. So if it is greater than or equal to 200, so we got here 250 Newton per mm square, which is greater than 200. So according to this theory, member will fail. So we have first theory, it is a failure. Second, according to second theory, yes, it is not going to fail. But according to third theory, that is shear stress theory, again the member is going to fail. Now we need to check whether the member is going to fail according to the remaining two theories or whether it is going to pass. So fourth one is maximum strain energy theory or Hike's theory. So according to this maximum strain energy theory, the total strain energy stored in a body per unit volume, the total strain energy stored in a body per unit volume, if it is greater than strain energy stored in a body under simple tension at elastic limit. At elastic limit, under simple tension, the strain energy stored in a body, if that value is less than the total strain energy stored in a body, okay, then the member is going to fail. So here the total strain energy stored in a body is given by equation 1 by 2E into sigma 1 square, sigma 2 square plus sigma 3 square minus 2 mu into sigma 1 sigma 2, sigma 2 sigma 3 plus sigma 3 sigma 1. So if this total strain energy stored in a body is greater than 1 by 2E into sigma T square per unit volume, then member is going to fail. So if you place the values of sigma 1, sigma 2 and sigma 3, that is 200 square plus 100 square plus minus 50 square minus 2 into 0.3 into 200 into 100 plus 100 into minus 50 plus minus 50 into 200. So this should be greater than or equal to sigma T square, that is 200 square. So if we simplify this one, we will be getting the value of 1 by 2E sigma 1 total strain energy as 49,500 by 2E. And at the same time here we got the value as 40,000 by 2E. So the value of total strain energy per unit volume in the material is greater than total strain energy per unit volume at elastic limit. So member will fail according to the condition. And the last one is maximum shear strain energy theory. So according to this theory, what they said, maximum shear strain energy stored in a body will be greater than or equal to the shear strain energy stored in a body at elastic limit per unit volume. If it is greater than the maximum shear strain energy stored in a body due to simple tension per unit volume, then member will fail, which is given like 1 by 12c of sigma 1 minus sigma 2 whole square plus sigma 2 minus sigma 3 whole square plus sigma 3 minus sigma 1 whole square. If it is greater than 1 by 12c of 2 times of sigma t square, then member will fail. So place the same values here. Cancelling these two, I am taking the values of this one. 200 minus 100 square plus 100 minus of minus 50 square plus minus 50 minus 200 whole square should be greater than or equal to 2 times of 200 square. So if we simplify it, we get the value as 95,000, and here we got 80,000. So 95,000 is greater than 80,000. So according to this condition of maximum shear strain energy theory, member will going to fail. So when we check all the 5 except the second theory, all other theories showed that member is going to fail. So this is the check for design, whether it is going to fail or whether it is going to withstand the loading conditions. This is our final problem. Thank you.